Radio, talking trotters. Haven't been live for a little while, so I thought I would get back to it. Sorry about this. Radio, trying to shut down the audio on one of these devices. At least I know the audio is working. So big night. There's not a lot happening in the world of trotting just at the minute, although there's about to be plenty happening in Queensland. So going to promote the Queensland Racing Carnival quickly with, I suppose, Louise Toulmin from the start, with Harassed Trotters being the major sponsors of the race series up there. The Great Square going to start, and then also Duncan McPherson. But please, if you are watching YouTube or Facebook and you want to get involved, ask either Louise or Duncan McPherson. Please feel free to get in touch with them. This show, as always, is always brought to you by Harassed Trotters, and I thank them a lot. I've got to make sure I get the right one. That's it there, the website. Make sure you go to harassedtrotters.com.au. Now, I know Louise is on the phone, but I caught her a little bit flustered before. Louise, are you there now?
Yep, I'm here.
Good to go. So I just said that website there, which is harassedtrotters.com.au. That'll give all the updates for everything that's going on with Harassed Trotters, and people are able to get in touch with them. Firstly, how are you on this lovely fresh morning in Ballarat, fresh afternoon in Ballarat?
Well, I actually are still out at Yabby Farms, and I must admit it's quite cold now. So it's I'll be glad when I do finally get home a bit later and the fire's roaring.
What's going on here? I've got audio going everywhere. Sorry, Louise.
I'll be glad when I do.
That computer normally doesn't have anything. We've got the Kiwis on. Tyler Dew is on. Hello to you, Tyler. Yeah, it is a hard time of year. It's a hard time of year for everyone, isn't it? This time of year, I must say.
Yeah, no, just definitely is. But it'll it won't be that long before spring hits, and we'll be ramping up for the stud season.
No, and we're not here to talk about that. I'm actually trying to do something else. I had everything organised, Louise, and just realised I didn't have one thing, but hopefully it'll all work in a second. That's okay. We're fine, though. The Great Square, Queensland Racing, and Racing Queensland, I should say, and the Creek have got this massive event, I suppose. That started last week, but the Trotters really start to come to the fore this week. Harassed Trotters have come on board and are sponsoring the Great Square. Firstly, you must be super excited about, the initial sponsor of what is a great race series.
Look, I think the thing is, I've just spoken to Pat about it as well, sort of thing, and said that I was coming on to have a chat about it. And he said he was, he loved the concept of the Great Square, and when initially I think they touted it going to be $150,000 race, but then when it came out on the carnival, it was about 75. So sort of Pat put his, thinking cap on and sort of went to Racing Queensland and Albion Park and sort of said, look, if he came on board as a sponsor and went halves, and we could promote it to $150,000 race, that it would be great for the industry. He loves the concept. He loves the Winter Carnival in Queensland, for, trainers both in the southern states sort of getting to Queensland, and, it's good money now on offer for, $150,000 race for those 3 and 4 year olds to go around in.
And it's unique as well. We all love the Great Southern Star, but we also like these unique races and something a little bit different, with the 3-year-olds taking on the 4-year-olds, and preferential draw given to the 3-year-olds, and then preferential draw also given to the fillies. So 3-year-old fillies, and then the 3-year-old colts, and then the older mares will draw. So throws a fair bit of intrigue, and they've got a couple of nice 3-year-olds going up this season. So it's not just a good race on a good carnival, it's just got something different about it as well, hasn't it?
Well, racing for that sort of money, I think you'd find it was probably the richest race, definitely in Australia, for that age group. So, it is. It's a really, really good concept. Pat's, delighted with it and hopes to be involved in it for many years to come. Yeah.
The expansion of the Trotters in Queensland, it's pretty evident. They had metro meetings. They've had 2 lots of major trot races up there. They had 2 trot races last week, the 2 heats of the Darryl Alexander, and the week before. But it's growing, which is what, Pat, Duncan McPherson, who's going to be on in a minute as well, and people everywhere, I suppose, are trying to get these trotters to grow, and it's working. The proof's in the pudding, really, with what is happening in Queensland.
Look, Queensland have got behind the Trotter, which is really, really good, introducing, good money for, even off a small base of Trotters that are actually bred in Queensland, but they've sort of put money behind it to try to incentivise people to breed a Trotter and raise a Trotter in Queensland. So I think down the eastern seaboard, we've got, all the states looking at, increasing that people patronage to go to a trotter, to own a trotter or to breed one. And let's just see, off the back of Just Believe and what he did, bringing us Australian trotting, our sort of, our trotter to the world and, what that's done for us sort of thing. It's been, it's great. And, all we can do is just believe that we all could hopefully have one, running around, overseas in years to come.
It is. We're going to talk about Just Believe. I had him squared across here. It is one of the great names, and hopefully people at harness racing are going to jump on board it, because realistically, when the horse is a maiden or even a trial horse and it hasn't done anything, Louise, you can just believe he's going to be able to win a race. And the journey he's taken everyone on, it's been a marketing masterstroke. Whoever came up with the name has just done a brilliant job with that horse. You guys must have been rapt watching him. I know Pat was over there at the elite lot, but being able to sit back and watch here in Ballarat in Australia, Louise, you guys must have been absolutely rapt with how he represented Australia, Australian trotting, but more importantly, Harasta Trotters and Yabby Dam Farms.
Look, I think the thing is it was just great as an overall sort of advertising campaign, wasn't it, sort of thing. We had Jess and Greg were great ambassadors, for our sport, and how they sort of opened themselves up to, the world, and seeing how they've sort of campaigned him, and sort of drew everybody else along with the journey. You felt like you were there with him, really, in some respects. Harness Racing Victoria did a great job, promoting it as well, sort of thing. So, look, I think we're all in this trotting game, whether you're just a breeder, whether you're an owner, whether you're a trainer, you're all in that for the passion of it, sort of thing. So, that just, highlighted that, didn't it, sort of thing, watching him. I must admit, I watched his last race, before my son ran an Ironman, and I just sort of said to my son, just believe you can do it. You know what I mean? Sort of thing. So it sort of transcended across the, from trotting to, the Ironman in Cairns, sort of thing. So, and then, we've all come back enthused, hoping that we can breed one and maybe not run an Ironman, but maybe run a half marathon or something. So, it's just one of those things. But, look, Harada Trotters are delighted to be involved with the Winter Carnival coming up there and, the Great Square this weekend. And Pat and I look forward to being up there ourselves on Saturday night.
There is a tease, Louise, too. I will say, we'll go back to Just Believe in a sec, but Albion Park said that the fields will be available at 6. Unfortunately, they're still not there. I keep refreshing my screen, hoping to see the final field on those. I know there's 3 3-year-olds that are London to a Brick, Rockin' with Attitude, and RC Phoenix are all going up there. So it will be interesting to see. But I haven't been able to get the final field. Have you got it?
No, I haven't actually got it either. So I haven't got it. But I would have just imagined that Rocking with Attitude will draw one.
Yeah, 1 or 2, I believe, is what Dave Miles keeps saying to me. 1 or 2. I actually thought 1, but anyway. But and then Chris Finozio and look, we talk about Just Believe, but back on the home front, I noticed I was going through the results, and I sort of go through the results at the end of this show a bit with the Trotters, Louise. I could be wrong, but you guys had bred a winner every day of the week last week. That's pretty cool, and that's predominantly in Victoria, although I think there was one in New South Wales as well.
Oh, is that right?
Yep.
That's you've trumped me. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, I went through. Look, someone might turn around and say, no, there wasn't one on Thursday. I know there definitely was one on the Thursday because they were at Kilmore, and that actually was the sister to Just Believe was one of those winners. But yeah, you guys bred a winner every day for the week as of last week, and Arua Kai, I think he is, the one that Chris Finozio.
Aroa Coe.
Coe, yep, it's a name that doesn't go well with me. He's just doing an awesome job. But winter months, there's some high class trotters still getting around, and it's pretty exciting. But well done to you guys for being able to achieve that stat last week.
No, thank you very much. But, look, that's sort of like Pat's, yabby jam farm hats on sort of thing, we'll sort of go forward and see what, this weekend brings.
No, all's good. And yourself and Pat are heading up, which will be exciting. And it must also be exciting knowing that it's going to be a touch warmer up there.
Yeah, no, definitely look forward to that.
I'll catch up with you a little bit later on. We'll do some stay-in announcements and things like that a bit later on in the season once they come around, which is going to come around pretty quickly, Louise.
No, it's not that far, away sort of thing. We'll have some announcements out of Harada Trotters in the coming weeks, something to, for I'm sure everyone will be quite excited to hear about sort of thing. But, like I say, people just keep an eye on our website and, for any updates. But, overly wrapped with the fact that, Harada Trotters is, trying to bring the best bloodlines through the world to Australian breeders, and Volstead's doing an amazing job with what he's doing with a couple of his first starters on the track.
And a very exciting winner in New Zealand on Friday night just gone too. I encourage people to go and have a look. I actually was going to bring that one up. I'm going to tell you the horse's name. Did you see the race, Louise?
I did actually see the race. I sort of got Empire City.
So Phil Williamson is the horse, and took on the older horses as well, and was very, very impressive. So a bit of a wrap, and in a great camp too to continue on and do more things.
Yeah, no, definitely. I did started to read an article, and then I sort of switched over to watch the replay, and I knew the horse had won, but where it was sitting in the field, I thought, no, I think I must have read this article wrong. And she flew home pretty quick. So it's a good thing. Just another, son of Cantab Hall, doing the things on the breeding track. So we're very excited about on a streak as well. Being by that Cantab line as well. So but if everyone just sort of keeps their eyes peeled to the HDT website, and we'll have some announcements coming up in the next few weeks.
No, thank you. He's had 2 winners in New Zealand. I think 2 winners here in Maryborough as well, Volstead. So from his first crop of horses, which is super, super exciting. Louise, thank you. Yeah. Enjoy.
No, thank you.
Unfortunately, enjoy Queensland. I wish I was going, but it won't be there. But for you, I look forward to you telling me how nice it is to have warm rays on the skin, I must say.
Well, I must admit, from my previous role at AVG, I used to hate going to Brisbane because it was, in January, early February, and it was humid and hot, whereas at least I'm going up there this time where I'm sure I'm going to enjoy the warmth.
Even if it is humid and hot, you're not going to complain, are you?
Nah, definitely not. No worries. Thanks again, Paul.
Thank you, and enjoy. See ya.
Yep.
That was Louise Toolman. I had a couple of buttons going on and a few different things happening. Thankfully, Louise hung up for me, which made it a little bit better. But of course, that race is coming up. They did tease that it would be out at 6 o'clock. I'm not sure if Brad Steele's on and watching. There's quite a few people on and watching. Don't be scared to fire a question. I'm going to have Duncan McPherson on the phone very, very shortly. And we'll never know, the great square fields might come up while I'm talking to Dunk, but we've got some exciting news for Duncan too as well. But we talk trotters, and that is exactly what we do. Good to hear Jeff Dixon saying it's raining up there. It was raining in, this is Talking Trotters. I don't know if they had a trot race on today or not at Pinjarra, but it was fairly raining. Any of my West Australian viewers, friends, good luck to you guys over there because it was howling down. Jeff Dixon, upset win by Grant Dixon trained trotter last Saturday night. You do everything right, you're always a chance to win. And that we were in the heats of the Darryl Alexander, which has thrown up quite a few curve balls. I know Tyler Dew is on there. Unfortunately, Smokin' Banda, the grey trotter, hasn't done himself any favours over there, or up there at the minute. Well, it doesn't matter about the minute. He's in all sorts. He can't make the Darryl Alexander. I'm not sure what they'll have on the cards for him, but he was in the second of the heats. I actually went to bed and didn't realise, but he galloped out and stood down and beaten 70 metres. So the two winners were Elderbaron Misty. We'll talk to Duncan McPherson very, very shortly. And Zealous Spur is a horse that Jeffrey's talking about. A Pegasus Spur trotter. Got the chockies up there at $31. He's a Kiwi bred. Pretty amazing, actually, in that heat. I can do this. Just got to double check which one it is. I'm pretty sure it's this one here. And I've just got to turn that off. Everyone, no, yeah, well, I've got to turn that one off anyway. And the bird dog down here. Have a look at all the New Zealand horses in there. There was, what is it, 3 Victorian horses or Australian bred horses in Hammer's Law who went terrific, Indefensible, and Hammer's Son. Every other horse in there bred by the Kiwis. So, and actually, I reckon if I go down to the other heat, might be something. No, Elderbaron Misty was a winner. Sir Fahrenheit, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in there also Kiwi bred. So quite a large contingency of New Zealand bred trotters. And I will talk to Duncan McPherson very shortly, get him on the phone, would make it a lot easier, about the job that Elderbaron Misty has done up there, and whether she might be targeting another race, I don't know. Just got to try and find Dunk's name while we go along. It will be here somewhere. Still can't spell properly, which is never one of my good points. It's a pretty good story, I must say, Elderbaron Zeus, and I think it's great for harness racing, full stop. This reaction.
Yeah, g'day, how are you?
Very well, mate, and I am live, but you knew that because you were watching.
Yeah, I've been listening, yeah, so I'll turn you off and then I can...
It gets a bit confusing, doesn't it? I have got 6 things in front of me, and every now and then I forget to turn one off, and it does get very, very, very confusing. I've actually changed hats, Duncan. I have the Sky Valley hat on.
Good.
And in all seriousness too, I put it around. I'll put it on backwards for 2 secs. While we talk about Elderbaron Misty, what a beautiful bonny little mare she is, and isn't she doing a great job for connections?
Yeah, look, we Elderbaron Misty was one we sold at the sales, I think, to Jeff Webster.
Yep.
And she's obviously a Sky Valley, and, you know, yet again, Sky Valley produces another $100,000 earner. He's 18th $100,000 earner, might I say.
Didn't know that.
And, well, I mean, it's very important. I mean, he's left... we're doing all the stats for all the advertising and brochures and whatever else we're doing at the moment, and even I get surprised sometimes that he's had so many $200,000 earners, let alone $1,800,000 earners. And Elderbaron Misty, as a 4-year-old mare's joined the, or 5-year-old's joined the group. So,
yep.
And she's a Group 1 winner as well. So, I mean, Jeff bought her with his partner Helen Plum, and Jeff had her down here for a while and then tried to sell her and couldn't sell her, and rang me, and I said, well, hang on to her and we'll see what we can do. Anyway, sent her up to Queensland, and she's won 2 heats of the Darryl Alexander, which is an amazing effort for a filly or for a mare, when you think that there's, as you extolled earlier, there's about 15 New Zealand bred horses in the heats, and it's very rare that a horse can win 2 heats of the Darryl Alexander, let alone be ready for the final. And I wish Jeff and the team up in Queensland every success this weekend. And we own the mare still, and Elderbaron Miley's out of the same mare, and so we've now got a $100,000 earner, and Miley's done a great job and placed at Group 1 company. So obviously the mare's leaving her mark, and we look forward to success, hopefully, somewhere between Elderbaron Misty and Elderbaron Miley over the next couple of weeks.
Mate, you've thrown me too many curveballs, because I was going to touch on Elderbaron Miley at the end. We'll talk about her.
Oh, well.
Zeus will come up. But what a brilliant job Chris Finozio is. Actually, quickly before that, Helen Plum actually got a double. So congratulations to her. The other one was a pacer. But
correct.
Well done to Helen and Jeff. They're doing it. They've got plenty going around. And I think they had a winner today. I think I saw it too. So they're having a real good run, which is terrific. So people putting in and they reap the benefits, which is terrific. I was talking trotters last week. I called into Chris Finozio's because he's going up there with RC Phoenix. But he's got a great team of horses, but Elderbaron Miley, what a win that was last week, or 2 weeks ago now.
2 weeks ago.
A massive win, wasn't it?
we've always had a very high opinion of her, and she's just needed to mature. And I'm a great believer in patience, and I think she's going to end up being at the back end of the year. I think she's going to be something else. She's tough. She's a very big filly, but she's now matured and she's got her head together. So she's quite calm. As a 2-year-old, she was quite erratic. So she's definitely calmed down. And Peter Spinozio, and he's can't stop talking about her. And yes, Chris has done a super job. And what she ran the other week was just quite amazing to think that, early up that's what she's done. And she's very fortunate. We paid up for her and a number of others, both colts and geldings and fillies, for the APG APTS series. The heats are at Ballarat on the 13th and the finals on the 22nd. And I think we'll have two fillies and 2 colts going around, and Miley's one of them, and then Jensen, who's $1.70 favourite out of our unfortunate ill-fated stallion, Aldebaran Eagle. He's favourite tomorrow in the first, and he's heading down here for that series as well. So, yeah, we've got lots to look forward to. And, Chris Venozio is doing a super job. And like Jeff and Chris and others, we open the gates and we say, come in and have a look at the stock and pick one and tell us what you'd like to do. And both of them have been in that position over the years, and they continue to do so. So good luck to them.
We'll talk about another one then, before we even get to poor old Zeus.
Yeah.
Zeus could just sit at the back line and all the rest.
Yeah, that's all right.
But I do remember I wear the Nutrient hat and doing the sales, and I think it was the first year you're selling, and we do the parade, and this horse trialled on the same day as the parade, Aldebaran Dino.
Yes.
You must have been stoked with his run on Saturday night. We're not mentioning the protest. We don't get ourselves into trouble.
No,
Don't
no.
worry about that. But you still must have been wrapped with what a return to form from a 6-month layoff, what a return to form that was. And it was a great race too.
Well, you say a return to form.
Not a return to form, sorry, return to the racetrack. Return to the racetrack, sorry.
Let's say return to the racetrack. So a story a bit like Zeus, but we'll go to Dino first. I mean, I couldn't sell Dino for $8,000 at the yearling sales.
Yeah.
His mother ran second to Sky Valley in the Breeders' Crown. She's already produced a number of winners, and we couldn't get $8,000 for an Andover Hall out of Aldebaran Maori. So we took him basically home. Noel rang me up, and there's a bit of a story. I mean, Noel took him as straight away, broke him in, couldn't get him going. The cows were running around the paddock faster than her. Danny and Mel put her in a paddock. 15 months later, we rang up Noel and said, "You still want that horse?" And Noel said, "Why?" And we said, "We think it's going to be all right." He took it home, and the rest is history. And he ran his first 2 races early or mid last year, and then he had a break, and then he came back and he competed in the Great Southern Star. And I mean, okay, we threw him in the deep end, but that's the opinion we had of him, and we thought that'll toughen him up a bit. He's gone out for a spell and come back, had 2 winning trials, and then went 57, 35 off them at the 1,000 and ran it to short half head. So do we think he's all right? Yeah, we think he's okay, and we've got high expectations. Again, it's a slow burn. He's only really had one serious racing campaign. He's 5 and a bit years old, and patience is a virtue. So, and Noel's doing a wonderful job. Carlo Dwyer assists Noel Shin and the family there with his shoeing, and Carlo Dwyer rates him as one of the most naturally gifted trotters he's seen in a long time. From Carlo Dwyer to say that at his second start, which I can distinctly remember,
Yep.
It's quite a rap from a bloke who knows a bit about trotters.
Yeah, and like Chris tried to get him into the race with having as easy a run as he could, but it just didn't quite work out the other night. So plenty more for him. And
Yeah.
but the flip side of that is, again, back talking to Louise there before with Aroa Coe.
Yes.
Some off-season, like we're in the middle of winter. Geez, there's some exciting trotters around, let alone what's happening in Queensland very shortly.
But you've got to have a look at the breed of these horses. I mean, Aroa Coe's a love you out of something about Maori.
Yep.
Right, so frank that. Dino, we've been patient with. He's an Andover Hall out of Aldebaran Maori, who is the Maori Miss family,
Yep.
which is the same family as something about Maori. So if you go and look at your genetics, which is what I keep talking about, and you can't sell them for $8,000 at the yearling sales, I don't mind taking them home. Trust me. Okay?
You'd rather
And
you would rather not, because I have seen you on those sale days. as much as I do agree with you, it is a frustrating time sometimes when you can't sell them and you're scratching your head what is going on. And I do understand exactly where that comes from.
No, I go to the sales. Elderbarron Park goes to sales with one definite objective, and that's to sell our progeny to people. Okay, that's the advocate, because otherwise you end up with a scenario that people say you keep the good ones and you take the bad ones to the sales. Well, Dino's a classic, and he couldn't cover the service fee. And to be fair to Elderbarron, to Zeus, at 24,000 passed in, he hardly covered the service fee to Muscle Hill at the time either. So. But who am I? I'm just the breeder and the owner. So on we go.
Yeah. There's some great trotting people tuned in to watch the show. Neville Pangrazio's one of those. Mark Lee, Stacey Towers, other half.
Yep.
And Noel McNulty, hello to you. Nellie Melba, there's plenty of people on there, but some good trotting names here. And that's what Talking Trotters is here about. So if you want to ask any questions, Barry Phillips has said, excited to be coming to watch Hot to Trot in the Great Square. So it must be going around in the Great Square, is it? It must be.
No. Oh, who?
Hot to Trot.
No, Hot to Trot's our slogan, and we're very happy. One of our slogans, we're very happy.
There's a horse called Hot to Trot.
Oh, there is a horse called Hot to Trot, correct. So the fields must be out. So while you're talking to me, you better others are doing their homework.
Hang on, they are out, rightio.
Good.
So before we get on to Zeus, so I got everything ready for Zeus, but it is...
Yeah.
Oh, you're joking. The fields are out. Guess what? I'll show everyone this. There's no field for the Great Square, Duncan. All that build up, and they've turned around and they've given me a pineapple. There's no fields actually for the Great Square and the Rising Sun. I would imagine there's possibly some chance they're going to have a barrier draw.
Of course. It's all about publicity. Paul, come on. And as listening to Louise earlier, I mean, fantastic that Pat and Yabby Dam have got behind the Great Square, and it's a super concept. And we've always talked about giving young horses the opportunity, and 3 and 4 year olds. We've always advocated good races for the 4 year olds, and credit to Queensland and credit to the team at Pat Driscoll's establishment. It's just a great incentive and wonderful to see, and let's hope that it's a success and it continues on.
Yeah, they have got 15 horses, one emergency, so a field of 14 is going to go around in the Group 2 Daryl Alexander on the same night. That's what I'm saying, and there's some real high quality trotters in there. Elderbarron Misty drew barrier 3, so they will be very happy with that.
Well, we all are. She's very quick. She's a good stand starter, and she can ping like she's pinged the last couple of weeks. So I'm sure that everyone will be on the edge of their chairs in that camp.
Andrew Christen has just told me that the barrier draw is live, 7 o'clock on Sky 2. They could have done it on Talking Trotters, Dunk.
Well, you see, you've been gazumped sometimes, mate, so you've just got to shape up.
I was all excited about that, and it didn't happen. The beauty of the trotters, though, like horses like Over and Out for Robert Evans, he's a great story, that trotter, and he's going around in a Group 2 race in Queensland. I'm sure Robbie's up there having an absolute ball, and is a live chance, because I see Craig said to me he buggered up the stand the first time, went up there, he's had a second attempt and got a third, and he's pretty happy, I would imagine, Craig Demler, so another great name in the industry that we need to be going.
Absolutely. And I think it's great that there's a smattering of New Zealand and Victorian horses prepared to, A, migrate to New Zealand, but B, people are prepared in Victoria to take the horses up for a carnival atmosphere. And it's credit to Queensland. I mean, they've created a vacation reason for people in New South Wales and Victoria to, as you said earlier, get out of the cold and go and enjoy some warmth. So good luck to them.
Are you heading up?
No. I'm going to Melton Saturday night. Hopefully Dino's in, and I'll take Sean Gallagher, take me mate Shawnee out, and everyone will be happy.
This is a little bugbear of mine, but you better go to Bendigo.
I'll get to Bendigo. Is it Bendigo, is it? Oh,
yes. Well. Yeah, but that's one of the issues, and bit of publicity around the fact that the trots are at Bendigo on Saturday night. I might
have seen a metro meeting at Bendigo, which creates a problem because anyway, I've got to be at an 88th birthday party on Saturday night, and I was hoping we're in an early race, but you just put the Khyber on that one. So,
yep. Tracy Wiley. Sorry, mate. Tracy Wiley said right. They got their fingers crossed with Rockin' With Attitude. Now we think she's going to draw 1. I don't know why Dave Miles keeps saying 2. There might be another 3-year-old filly, but yeah, I don't.
We'll wait and see what happens. And again, rocking with attitude. Great filly out of Aldebaran Eagle, and another one. And he just unfortunately, as you know, he's ill-fated, but he's producing good results for the progeny that he put on the ground. And rocking with attitude's his starship. So good luck to the team with rocking with attitude.
And more to come. You and I, I might have to get. I can get Sky 2. I could get in a lot of trouble. I could get Sky 2 up on my computer at the same time.
You just stay out of trouble.
I'll get into a lot of trouble at 7:00. I did see Lisa Miles actually had 2 at the trials the other night at Melton too. So two of those. So both trotted okay, I believe. So
more to come.
And there also the beautifully named Aldebaran Campbell was there, but we won't go on to that. That's a story for another day, because otherwise we will be still going live when we're going here. Rightio. Now, I've pre-organised a couple of things going here. But firstly, congratulations with Aldebaran Zeus, mate. Firstly, I think yourself, like we were talking there before with Louise and what Pat's been able to do with horses like Just Believe, getting them across onto the international stage. Congratulations on getting the invite.
Yeah, thank you. I mean... the horse has done the work, and everyone associated with the horse has done a super job. So it goes all the way back to, we got some good advice to go all the way back. 13 years ago, I bought his mother in Sweden and imported her to Australia with the hope that we'd produce an international class horse. So it's been a long time in the making, and then to get the opportunity to go to Muscle Hill, and I thank Stallions Australasia for the semen opportunities to have Muscle Hill in the Southern Hemisphere, and then to pop the foal on the ground. And Mel and Danny then, did all the work to get it to the yearling sales. As I've said earlier, he was passed in with a reserve of 24K, and which was barely going to cover the service fee. And we took him home, and then we rang up Brent Lilly after we broke him in, and we said, we've got a pretty good horse here. You want to come and have a look at him? He said, which one? And we told him. He said, I'll send him down and we'll have a look. And I think Lils did half a lap behind him and rang up and said, leave him here. And the rest is history. So, but to Brent Lilly and to Tracy, and who's one of the co-lessees, and to Mel and Danny, who put all the groundwork in early, and to Chris Alford, who's stuck with him pretty much the whole way through his career. It's just a great result for the team. And I say team, at the end of the day, because I do my job and everyone else does their job, and between us all, the cogs work and away we go. And he's been a wonderful horse to us, and we hope that his deeds on the track now and in New Zealand will stand him in good stead to be a Southern Hemispherical stallion. And the bonus is we've now got the opportunity to take the horse to America and see what we can do up there. And I just think I'm so proud of all the trotting industry for the support that they provided, not only to Greg and Jess, but all the way back to John Mead, who's rung me, who had sparkling success with an invitation to go there, to Maori Time, who went up in 98. And there's just a plethora of wonderful horses, 6 to 8 horses that in Australia at the moment. You take I'm Ready, Jet, Cravash Dior, Aldebaran Zeus, you take Mufasa Metro, you take Muscle Mountain in New Zealand, and a couple of the others, and Chris Lang's got his good couple of horses. You've really got to pinch yourself and say that this is probably the best group and opportunity that we've had to produce international horses on the international stage. And it's not one horse winning all the races. There's a number of horses down here that are totally globally competitive, and we hope to be able to add to that when we go up north.
Dunk, I'm just going to put the video over the top. It doesn't matter, you won't see it anyway, of you talking, but of Cambridge. But just quickly, those horses you just rattled off then, Rockin' With Attitude is her last 3 starts, she's won a Group 1 race.
Yes.
And like one of those is a Derby, a time-honoured race. So that's the depth. I'm not picking on you for forgetting, because I know where you hold her in as far as that. She could travel overseas quite comfortably, that filly as well. So it is very, very exciting. I wanted to put Cambridge on, Dunk, because when we're talking about Aldebaran Zeus and what he's got ahead of him, this race didn't go to plan, because he was 3 deep for the first 400 or 600 just about before he got to the front. But this whole trip, after this, it probably didn't go the way you guys wanted it to, but has the potential to make him and probably make America not as a daunting affair as what it might have been.
Oh, his first big trip was to Menangle to go into the Hammerhead because he'd never been further than Shepparton.
I've got that video as well. You just got to play to me script. You forgot that part.
Yeah,
That's okay.
no,
Don't worry. It's all good.
But he'd never been further than Shepparton. So, I mean, to go to New South Wales was the first exercise, and he didn't eat up that good. So Brent was a bit concerned, but the horse was super that night. He broke the Australasian record for colts and geldings and became the second fastest Australian trotter in history in 152.6 behind Maori Times 151.5. And so we thought then, and with due respect, he managed to, on that occasion, he had a good barrier draw, and we managed to hold Just Believe out and a couple of others. And I guess that helped him mature. And then we came back and recovered really quickly and really well from that. And Brent was really happy with him. So it wasn't until we got him home that we decided to have a crack at New Zealand. And the Cambridge Waikato Flying Mile, in the back of our minds, we thought if we can go and win that going our way round, then he's really won 3 big mile races, the Bendigo Maori Mile in January, the Hammerhead, and then the Waikato Flying Mile to prove that he can travel. And then we thought, you dream, but in the back of our minds we thought, well, he's a half a chance for people to start to have a look at him up north. So that franked it. He was super at Cambridge. As you said, he sat parked and didn't get to the front for a while and then did really well. The other races didn't go according to plan, but then coming 4 and 5 wide at Alexandra Park is always problematic. And his last, as I said the other night, his last 200s and last 300s, when you clock them, are as equal to or faster than the winner. And so we knew that he got lost on that corner coming wide, and therefore we weren't overly worried about his performances. Obviously disappointed, and had we had a slightly better barrier draws, it might have been a different result, but you cop it and you keep going. And then we got him home from New Zealand, and he travelled home really good. And I said to Brent, well, what if? And he said, well, if it happens, it happens, and if it does, we'll take it. And then, lo and behold, we had a phone call. So very excited, just so excited for everyone associated with the horse.
No, and you should be. The Hammerhead is actually on now, and in this is 30. He sets his PB of a 52.6, which we'll touch on in a minute. But while that's playing, the one thing, just before we get off New Zealand though, until you've been to Alexandra Park and appreciate that home turn, how tricky it can be for some horses. You see some good paces can't handle that home turn. Other horses get around it like a greyhound, and when the barrier draws don't work for you and you have trouble getting around that home turn, it's just a bad mix, isn't it?
Well, don't forget we're going the other way. Yeah. So therein lies the first issue, and we trained him the other way a fair bit before we went, but there's nothing like doing it on race day. The other thing that happened in New Zealand is it never stopped raining. So every time we went anywhere, apart from Cambridge, it rained. So a sloppy track 5 wide on Alexandra Park, coming around the last bend, trying to run 27 flat, it's nigh on impossible. And whether you're a pacer or a trotter, as you alluded to, it's very, very difficult unless you're 1, 2, 3 fence. So, we were very happy with his performances. He pulled up after each run super, and we just thought, well, it's luck's not on our side. But what we have proven over time is that if the horse gets the barrier draw in the right spot, right time, he's got electrifying gate speed, and we can use it to our advantage. And we're hoping, as Klaus Koch said, if the horse gets a good draw on an 800-metre dish at Yonkers, then if Brent's got him tuned up, and I'm sure Brent knows exactly what to do with him, then if he can come out of that machine on song like he has shown in Australia, then he's going to be right in the mix somewhere up front, and that's what we hope to be able to do.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Someone's actually said I need one of these hats, but I haven't seen, it was Tracy Wiley, but I haven't seen the actual hat there. So I'm always up for a hat. Anyone who knows me knows that. What a wonderful job Pat and Duncan McPherson are doing for the Trotters. Thank you. You deserve all the success. That's from Jeffrey, a regular contributor to Campbell's comments, mate. But well done to yourself. And if the team at Harasta Trotters are still listening, well done to those guys as well.
Absolutely.
The 152.6, and I got Bendigo's Maori Mile 154.8. Those times are world class. It was because it is so interesting. I was listening to an interview you were giving someone the other day on the radio, talking about the sulkies, the tracks, and how everything's different. Because that was one of the, I suppose, people from afar were happy to say that Just Believe won't be able to go quick enough. But once he got over there on their tracks with their carts, all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, hang on. So these times are world-class times, and then we know that they'll be able to compete with these horses in America.
Yep. I mean, Chris Lang took Sundon's Gift over in 2009. Keren's been there with Night Pistol in 99. And then Maritime went over, and obviously the Kiwis took Lyell Creek and so on. And in Europe, they still think we're racing in jog carts.
Yep.
They laugh at us, and so that's fine. But what we do know is when you get onto those cambered tracks and you have the carbon fibre sulkies that are a bit wider and the driver's tucked up a bit closer up behind the horse itself, and Greg Sugars will attest to it, and because he's experienced it recently, we think there's about a 1.5 second advantage over the mile. So if you start clipping off time and then you understand what time you've got to run, then the times that we're now running down here consistently in the Trotters, then we're really becoming close to globally competitive. And when you think about, even the 3-year-old and 2-year-old Trotters that you referred to earlier in your program, London to a Brick and so on. I mean, Aldebaran Jensen's gone 56.7. I mean, these are 3-year-olds that are 56.7 in jog carts. Now, if they're running 54 up at Poconos, they're going to win every day of the week. Yep. So when we're right on them, and I think that within the next 3 to 5 years, as does Pat and Chris Lang and John Nissen and Chris Venozio and a whole lot of other learned people that train the horses, we are definitely on the cusp of annually and each time getting invitations, we think, to these major races in the Northern Hemisphere, which is essentially the Great Southern Star, the Great Southern Star, the Elite Lop and the MGM International Trot, let alone France. So and France is a different ballgame because they're over the longer trips, but there's no doubt that the genetics that everybody's been extolling down here, it's starting to pay dividends. And credit to the new stallions that are going to be announced. You've got Ecurie D, you've got King of the North. I mean, the availability of global seamen here, and Dancing in the Dark, he went 49.3 and was the fastest stallion in the world in 2021. So I mean, there's opportunities down here, not only from Aldebaran Park, but from other farms that are creating genetic opportunities for people to aspire to. And I think, this is what we should be doing. And Harness Racing Victoria, Harness Racing Australia, we can't do it without them, and they should be promoting the Trotters to the rafters in the general community. To think you could buy a trotter for X dollars and then take on the world, if you thought you'd do that with a galloper, then your pockets are deeper than what you think. So that's all I need to say there.
I devoted a show last week to asking people how we can do things to promote our industry, and yet the Trotters are just sitting there smacking everyone in the face. And there wasn't a lot of comments about just fresh off the back of Just Believe taking on the world. Maybe we need more horses. You say there before about the carts, Dunk, and the tracks and the camber. The other thing we have a slight issue to, and I've just got the the Kiwi website up in front of me as well. They've got a bigger issue. Tactically, we drive so much differently. If an American driver goes out there and goes hard in front, and the horse isn't good enough, that's sort of it. Like, we're over here, they're encouraged to sit up, stack them up, keep your opposition in behind you, and try not to let them get out. And if you just go to the front and just run. So I think that also is a major bearing on why we don't get that. If you take Chris's drive in the Hammerhead, he didn't really care. He just let him roll, just said, if they're going to be good enough to go past me, so be it. Backed his judgment on the timing, and go from there. So I think that also is a big factor in why in Australia we're not that far off, but we're not far off. I think that's one of the reasons. And the Kiwis definitely, because the Kiwis definitely are happy to stack them up and win the race, worry about the times and everything else later. And well done to them for that, I think, too.
I think we'll see the day when we're running most trotters will run sub 30 quarters. There'll be no breathers in the middle, and that's going to be the difference in the genetic and the ability of the horse and the horseman, and the drivers to understand that these horses, I don't think we're driving them to their maximum time perspective at the moment. I think that there's a lot of horses that could run, faster times if we took the aggressive attitude, such as what Chris Elford did for us up at the Hammerhead, and we just ran even quarters, and he said, catch me if you can, and rack and stacks off. And I think that if we can improve our times, then we get more genetic opportunity, because people in the Northern Hemisphere will say, God, they're running 54s consistently in Australia. We better send more semen down, because it's a commercial opportunity that we shouldn't resist. And the other thing, the flip side to all this, with all these wonderful 6 to 8 that I extolled earlier and the genetic improvement, is that there's no doubt that there's people in the Northern Hemisphere thinking that they should invest in Southern Hemispherical stock. And to that end, as you know, we've got Boko stables that have invested. They've got a filly with in Elderbaron Vera. We've got Boko Manhammer, who've sent broodmares down here in Elderbaron Teal with a Who's Who filly at foot. They've also seen the light and sent Dancing in the Dark straight from America down here for stud duties. So, and as with Pat, there's people in the Northern Hemisphere considering Southern Hemispherical trotting investment, and we need to encourage this and figure out how we can get those people to our yearling sales to buy our globally competitive yearlings.
Yep, and that's the next phase, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And get them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been to Sweden and to America and bought horses. I mean, the day will come where people see us as a harvesting opportunity, and they can buy horses here, race them, get their Vic breds, do whatever they want to do as young horses, and then take them to America and race them.
Yep.
And Lochinvar Art in the pacing ranks is proving that, and so are all the others that are running around Yonkers. There's a plethora of them. So, you know, it's a new phase, and we need to get used to it, and we need to start to think about, you know, outside the box, what as an industry can we do to enhance our opportunities globally. And part of it's putting horses up there in the Northern Hemisphere, and part of it's making sure that everyone down here is positive, not negative, about where the industries are going in each state and jurisdiction.
That last part's a fun part, the positive and the negative. But we won't go there. Joe Pace is on, of course, a great pacing man who's converted now, and he'll be converted for life with Harry Stamper. Funny to think, years ago, helped work Trotter for Chris Howe, and they were wrapped when it won in a mile rate of 2:13. That's Jeff Dixon, and that's exactly right. But back, it has been like there's been a lot of people putting their shoulder to the wheel. The likes of Dick Lee,
Correct.
The whole Redwood family, Colin Redwood, Bob Conroy, the way that they have continually put the Trotters up there. And they would have been howled down from time to time, but it's just great what they've done. We just got to take it to the next level. A horse like Muscle Mountain, I did an interview with Ben Hope, and I know you've had a bit of an association with Ben Hope. He's coming over. He'll be coming over for the Great Southern Star, so that part's going to be exciting. He's an exciting trotter with a different dimension. I don't know. They will know he'll handle the 2 heats. I've got no doubt about that, but he just looks a pretty hard going horse. I don't know how he'll handle the 2 heats on the one night, but they're excitement horses to get. Even just like we sometimes undersell what the Kiwis have over there, and maybe the Kiwis undersell what we have, like when you see what Zeus did that night at Cambridge.
Well, in my mind, we're one jurisdiction. Yep. We're the Southern Hemispherical jurisdiction representing harness racing. The alignment between both countries should be discussed at greater levels and greater efforts, and a combination of creating, and I'll pick the trotting gate, a 12-month consideration of where the trotting races are placed will not only enhance our industry here, but it'll also enhance the potential investment opportunity from the Northern Hemisphere. You just going back a little bit, you touched on Chris Howe and a couple of other people. I'd like to mention Kevin Risley, and Kevin Risley had a great association with Chris Lang, and Kevin Risley, he had a lot of horses under the Interest logo. If you go back a few years ago with National Interest and Right Interest and all those horses, and I guess if you go back 15 to 20 years ago, he was a trailblazer in his own right, because he bought Panbreak out from the US, and he had the foresight to also produce international genetics to Australian trotting. And we've got to look at those that were before us as well as those that are currently in the limelight.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got to remember an unfortunate passing of Noel Ridge the other day as well. But, we definitely have to remember what
Correct.
people have done for our industry, but we need to continue to grow it. And I tend to agree. We both bang on a little bit about this quite a lot, so we do sort of agree a little bit with this. You said there before about the guys from Stallions Australasia. They actually had a winner in New Zealand the other day, Magic Dash. They don't get a lot of winners. They tend to sell most of their horses, but Regan Todd. So that was a trotter by Cadabra. Actually, out of a Bitty Sadie. Dunk, I will let you go.
Thank you.
Just quickly before I do, the big thing to say this when I'm talking to you, Queen Alida. Zeus has had the privilege of chasing her a couple of times, but you would have had, I suppose, first hand sitting there, and I imagine having a couple of conversations with Lils. She would always come up. How good a mare is she? Or how good a trotter? Should I ask it more generically? Is how good a trotter is she?
She's globally competitive without any doubt in the world. Again, I think we've got 6 or 8 that are really, really good, and we talked about those earlier.
Yep.
You then go to take the 6 or 8 and you put them up there, and she's definitely in the top 3 or 2 from an exponential point of view going forward. She's been well looked after, and by Brent Lilly and the team, and she's her untapped raw ability is, in my personal opinion, and what do I know, but I think it's untapped. And she may not back up and do what she needs to do, but one-on-one she's going to be there, and I would expect that I know that she's definitely under the view and the radar of the international invitations going forward, and as are a lot of the horses that I mentioned earlier. And now it just comes down to deeds on the racetrack and racetrack performance. And she's right out there. I mean, you ask Chris Elford, you get into Porsche, she's a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
And that's Chris's view. And she's just a wonderful, mannered, well-gated, calm individual. And I think calmness and that go in hand. So Just Believe's a calm horse. Zeus, as a stallion, you could lie next to him and he wouldn't bat an eyelid. And Alida sits there and she's as cool as a cucumber. So I think that the demeanour of the horse has a lot to do with the ultimate opportunity and the travel. So I think that those 3, we've all seen it. Whereas you go back and some other horses over the years that have been absolutely magnificent horses haven't been able to get in a float and go to New South Wales. So it's horse for horse, and I understand that, but we're very fortunate in Victoria at the moment where we've got a really good group of well-seasoned, well-looked-after, world-class trotters, and I hope that, if she doesn't take them on next year, then and Pat doesn't take on Ready Jet to France. I mean, how would it be if some of these got international invitations and stood up on the world stage within 12 to 18 months? Australia's had 4 or 5 horses globally competitive. We've never had that. So I just hope that that's the outcome. And hopefully out of all that, we attract further investment from the general population into the wonderful industry that we live in.
Yep. No, I totally agree. Brent Thompson, next year, this crop of 4-year-olds step up against the older horses is going to be something extra, and I think he's 100% right. They're super exciting, the 4-year-olds getting around at the minute. But then you look at the 3-year-olds, we've still got... what's her name to come back? The Locomotive. He hasn't even started.
The Locomotive,
started yet.
That's what I mean. I mean, you go and look at RC Phoenix. He trialled at Melton and went 56.8 or something. I mean, over 17.20. I mean, horses don't trial in 56.8 over 17.20. It was a 3-horse field. I mean, good heavens.
And he done it on his ear. Dave Miles, I did have him mic'd up, and unfortunately just went pear-shaped.
Went pear-shaped. But I mean, that just goes to show that the next group coming through behind, Queen Elida and Aldebaran Zeus and the other lot, the Cravache Doors, the RC Phoenixes, the Locomotives. I mean, we're going to have household names that should be, we should be singing from the rafters.
Yep.
And 56.8 in a 3-horse trial at Melton at night.
Yep.
I mean, give me a break. Right?
And the one thing about it, the greyhounds can't do it, and the thoroughbreds can't do it as readily. They do go to the other day, whatever that carnival was. They took 4 horses over there. But we can travel our horses. We can travel them to America. We can travel them to Europe, France, Sweden. Doesn't matter where they go. We can travel them. And please travel them to New Zealand, because the one thing about that Cambridge night, it was a lot of fun, wasn't it, Dunk?
Yes, and there's a couple of things that I'd just like to add as we sign off.
Mate, you don't have to sign off. We can talk all night.
No, because the listeners will get sick of listening to me. But we've got to understand 3 things. We're the fastest growing herd population in the world of trotters.
Yep.
As far as a herd population is concerned. So our breeding numbers are increasing faster than any other jurisdiction in the world, including anywhere in the European Union. That's item 1. Item 2, we're the fastest genetic lowering of times anywhere in the world. So our genetics are now becoming to the forefront faster, and we're lowering times at greater rates than ever seen before. So if you take those 2 facts, then why wouldn't you buy and invest in trotters?
Yep.
And trotters make up 26% of the total herd population with paces and trotters, and yet we can now produce trotters that can go to $1 million races on the other side of the world out of the small number of horses that we produce. It's mind-blowing. And so credit to everybody that's investing in the horses. I think the best is in front of us, and as I said earlier, I think the next 5 years with the group of coming through, and we haven't seen the good 2-year-olds yet.
No.
And believe me, every stable says they've got a cracking 2-year-old, and I'm really looking forward to the back end of 2023 when these 2-year-old trotters show us what they've got, because they're going to be coming through genetically better than the 5 and 6-year-olds.
No, absolutely, Dunk. Thank you. You and I can talk forever. I will let the people with Rocking With Attitude and every other one that's involved go tune on to Sky 2. But, mate, thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to talk a little bit about the past winners. Do you know there was still 3 pacing bred trotting winners last week? That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Better's Delight's always produced a trotter of some description somewhere.
London to a Brick.
A lovely trotter.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's and you go back and there's always one somewhere, and credit where credit's due. Trainers have got the ability to then convert them or make sure they look after their natural gait. And I'm not a trainer, but London to a Brick, yeah, great opportunity for those people, and congratulations to everybody. Wonderful.
I can't think of the other. There was one was Got to Go Collect, was a 2-year-old that won at Albion Park, and then there was I can't think of who the other one was as well, but one in Victoria. There was 2 in Victoria, one in New South Wales. But yeah, I just I do love them, mate. Thank you. Anyone wondering, the conversations Duncan and I can have on the phone call. This is a minnow. This one, isn't it, Duncan? We tend to talk a little bit longer than this generally.
Apologies to everybody for my dulcet tones, but I mean, I'm so enthusiastic about our industry and flying the flag and the opportunity to do so. I don't take it for granted. We've been in the game since '58, and it's the highlight of our family's life. So thanks to everybody.
Absolutely. Miss Memphis was that horse. It's by Got to Go Collect. The people actually tried something. Walking in Memphis is a continental man horse, so people are prepared to try stuff, as Pat did with the Better's Delights as well, so which is really exciting. But, mate, thank you. Joe Pace has said, Americans knocking on our doors to buy our trotters now. Take them over there, Joe. Obviously, he's had some interest in Harry Stamper, I would say.
Correct.
Go for a holiday. Bring him back here. Keep him racing. Keep the Yanks coming over to us, Joe. Or have a look at the money overseas in Europe, mate. You might want to travel that way instead. So that's it. That's probably the bargaining chip too. With the Pacers, they can only sell them to America, whereas this way there's Europe and you've got the opportunity to travel. So plenty going on there. Duncan, I will let you go. Thank you very much for joining me, mates, and appreciate it. Yourself and Louise, deputising for Pat as well. What you guys have done with the Trotters over the journey, well done to you guys.
Thanks. We're hot to trot at Aldebaran Park, and if anyone's interested, we can always assist with Sky Valley and Dancing in the Dark in the current breeding season. So we look forward to solid patronage of those 2 super horses.
I'll come and see you at the farm, or I'll come and see Danny and Mel. We'll do something about the boys going forward, mate. Thank you very much.
Thanks, mate. All the best. We're hot to trot at Aldebaran Park.
See you, Duncan McPherson there. Signing off. So plenty going on with the Trotters. Obviously, the Great Square Barrier Draw is going to happen very, very shortly. Johnny McLean, great pacing trainer. Wonder if he had any Trotters going over the journey, Johnny. But yeah, anyway. So as I said, there was plenty of winners. I spoke to Chris Finazio last week. I try to go through as many of the winners as we can, but I think we've been going for an hour, so I think well done. We'll go through them. If people don't want to see who all the winners were last week, you can log off if you like, but it doesn't matter. Can you let us know what Hot to Trot draws in the Great Square, Barry Phillips? Duncan didn't think you really had the horse called Hot to Trot. Duncan will be up there. He'll be claiming rights. I'll keep going for you, Barry. We'll continue the show going, and hopefully someone will flick me through who they are. Wish Upon a Dream, that was the one at Horsham I wanted to highlight for Rebecca Morrissey. Ran a slashing second today at Charlton Harness Racing. Today, Shepparton Trots. There was quite a few trots at Shep, as there generally is. My personal jet. Now, we talk about young trotters and Brent Thompson and a few of these other days. Yes, at the showgrounds, horses from Stan Walker. 11, the showground horses from Stan Walker. So, need to get some more, Johnny. Get back into the trotters. We need some more people in them. My personal jet. This horse, he's not even a 3-year-old. He's a monster. He's by Quaker Jet out of Access to Success. He won a heat of the Nutrient Series. Did he run a heat? No, he ran third. He ran third and second in the final. I think my personal jet, big horse, needs a lot of time. Chris Finazio's got a magic team of trotters at the minute that are going super. And I'm sure there was another trot. Yeah, Watch and Act. For Faye McEwen at Sky Valley. I should have put that up while Duncan was on as well. Out of the Pegasus Spur Mare and Miss Ellie for the old Bluey, great to see Blue there. But of course Tuesday, I'll leave it. I'll leave the things on. It's okay. Tuesday is trotting day in Queensland and in New South Wales. So Miss Memphis, I said there before about the Gotta Go Collect. It won race number 1 at Albion Park, and then the other was run by Gus, a horse by Majestic Sun for Chantel and Peter Turpin. There was only the 2 trots. Oh, no, there wasn't. There was 3 trots on. I'm a Gypsy Queen, a horse by Creatine out of Kai Valley First Lady. And, Jim Conlon, we didn't mention Jim's name too much there before when we talked about trotting people. Another person that's put a huge amount into the trotters and continued to grow in them. Wonderful for an older bloke like me to see the champion trotters, but there will never be another Murray's Idol. And unfortunately, Spellcheck took over that for Johnny, but I know exactly who he's talking. And some of the stories I've heard about Murray's Idol from some of the people, he just must have been a phenomenal horse. Did beat the free-for-all paces going the wrong way. Johnny, help me out. The name of the place. Johnny's father Sid could pull a plunge or two. Yes, Jeff. We'll keep this on to the trotters. Beautifully Bred, Love You, out of Sun Miss Leaf Stride, took out race number 1 at Menangle on the Tuesday. And Albizia, I'll go with another Creatine. Creatine's doing a good job at the minute for Mick Boots. Jared Orchin, I don't think Jared trains too many trotters. But Mickey Boots got a winner there as well. That was on the Tuesday at Albion Park. Gloucester Park and Wagga won't have trotting winners, that's for sure. Geelong, and they had a couple of trots. I'm Above the Law, but horse by Lawman for Paul Warnock and Josh Dickey. Well done to you guys. And there was a 3-year-old trot at the end of the day. An Orlando Vici out of Nieta for Yabby Dam Farms in Rapid Return. So that was driven by Taylor French, beating Stevie G. She wouldn't have liked beating that horse. She loves Stevie G. Another Orlando Harasta Trotters bred horse. Kilmore on the Thursday. This was when the sister to Just Believe, Keep Believing, by Orlando Vici out of Heavenly Sister, got the chockies again for Chris Finazio. I said there he's got a great team. Bullion Girl, half to Bullion Harry, won there as well. And I think there was another trot on that day at Kilmore. There was another 2. Rastamon by Cardigan Boko. Beautiful horse to look at, Cardigan Boko. Terrific horse for Tina Rittis. Great name to see in there. And then Gardena Ronda, another used to me by used to me out of El Gardena for Anton Galino and Ryan Duffy. Got the chockies at Kilmore on the Thursday. Friday night, the Trots went to Maryborough. Well, there'll be a heap of them. There you are. So John McLean, he beat the Pacers. The Clive UR Championship at Albion Park, beaten Monaro. I think went past Derby winner named Sammy Karamia going around the turn. So I did see the footage. There used to be some footage anyway. I don't know if it was when he went up further up north, the track that's now closed, and set that alight. I think they raced back to front there. They did that as well. Sir Ed, congratulations, Kylie. Sugar's got the chockies in the Aldebaran Park Vic Bread at Maryborough on Friday. The Sky Valley Sprint Lane was won by Kelly Bush, Lindsay Potter and Johnny Caldo combining. The Happy Birthday Hayden Barbie Trot was taken by Buckles, and the Harasta Trotters Trot, Elfie Always for Ray Cross. Geez, he gets some winners, Ray Cross. He did an awesome job at Bendigo there a couple of weeks ago, so gets more winners than the size of him. I'm about to have a cat come and join me for this show, which is never good, but that's okay. She's trying her best. But yeah, so plenty of winners that have happened going forward. Michael House, you missed us talking about Trotters. We had both Louise Toolman and Duncan McPherson on talking about the Great Square, that the barrier draw is out. If anyone's seen the barrier draw for the Great Square, if they could text it through to me, it'd be really handy. I'll go back and have a little look. I said there before about the Trotters. Of course, Zealous Spur won the third heat of the Daryl Alexander, beating Hammers Law, Global Flight and Call Me Trouble. Not a lot of, most of those are Queensland trainers up there, most of them, all of them. No, Sonia Smith, of course, with Hammers Law, getting into trouble for that. And then the second of the Somerset Farms, Daryl Alexander Trotting Championship was won by Aldebaran Misty, winning 2 heats, beating Sir Fahrenheit. And over and out, good luck to you, Robbie Evans, going in there. Michael's back again. But no, Michael, we were just talking Trotters, talking everything that is going on in the world of the Trotters. I'm just going to quickly see if they've put these fields up or if they still haven't got them up yet for connections. No, they're still not up. I'll go to my Twitter feed. Barry, we'll go and have a look at the Twitter feed and just see if they've put it up. They don't tend to rush into putting these things up very, very quickly. That is for sure. Because of the build-up, they don't want it over in the first 5 minutes. So I would imagine, Barry, you'll have to keep an eye. No, here we go. So I'm not sure. Barry draw. Oh, it's to be conducted live. So the final field is Albiza, Paris K, She's a Chance, Courage Stride, RC Phoenix, Hot 2 Trot, My Ultimate Eddie, Top of the Moment, and Gus. Now, that can't be the final field. Rockin' with Attitude is a 3-year-old filly, and Kenny Turo, 3-year-old fillies, and I'm Gypsy Queen and London to a Brick, a 3-year-old gelding. So David Miles was right. There will be 2 3-year-old fillies in the field. Kenny Tura and London to a Brick, and I'm a Gypsy Queen will be the first emergency. So, yep. Then we're followed by the 4-year-olds with Albizia, Paris K, She's a Chance, Courage Stride, RC Phoenix, Hot to Trot, My Ultimate Eddie, Top of the Moment will all be taking part in that. They will also be doing the barrier draw for the Great Square, so we'll be able to go there. Murray's Idol won the Hamilton Pacers Cup, was a great call by Ron Paps. You don't see many Trotters race against the Pacers now. Unfortunately, no, you don't. Michael House, of course, he stood Sundon. I gave up on Trotters the day I had to put Sundon in his grave. So he had a lot to do, stood him, had a lot to do. And what an influence that horse has left on the stallion ranks here. I might even have a chat. This will be dangerous, but I might even get Michael on one day and we'll have a chat about Sundon, the sort of horse that he was, and the dominance that he has been able to leave in the trotting ranks. Okay, thank you. Talking Trotters, brought to you by Harassed Trotters and the team. Got the wrong hat on. I don't know where the other hat is, but that's okay. Duncan McPherson was on as well, so I appreciate everyone getting involved in the show. Don't forget, main race for the week, 8:20 is going to be the inaugural Group 1 running of the Harassed Trotters. I'll get the right name. Yep, it is the 2023 Harassed Trotters, the Great Square, at 8:20 at Albion Park. Going to be a huge build-up. Well done to everyone for having a $150,000 3 and 4-year-old trot race in Queensland. That would never have happened going back a while. So Michael House actually bought him on. Did you drive him, Michael? I'm going to have to hold out for a minute and 40 seconds. Hopefully Michael may have race driven him at some stage, but by the looks of it, he brought him into the world, and unfortunately was with him when he passed away. So we'll just wait around. Anyone watching, they can continue watching. Don't be scared ever to get involved in any of Campbell's Comments live shows. Not sure if Talking Trotters will be live next week or not. I'm not going to commit to it being a live show because of other work. Does make it a bit tricky, but love Talking Trotters and getting out there and showcasing them, because I think they are the future of harness racing, or the future to growing harness racing. So just waiting to see if Michael says he ever actually drove him, whether he drove him in a race or not. Would be very, very interesting to know that from Michael. I'll make sure I haven't missed any other comments while we're going along there. No, it doesn't look like it. Barry, we'll have to send you through. I'll have to send you through. I might even go down and sit and watch Sky 2 for you, mate, and I'll be able to put it on there. But nope, it's going to take Michael a little while, because what happens is there's a 40-second delay before you guys get the picture, and then he types a message, but then there's another 40-second delay by the time it sends to me and I get it, and then another 40 seconds. So it's actually, goes for longer. Here we go. Put his first shoes on and his last. Make some time, and then I'll share some more great stories about America, Sir Roy, Fred, etc. Right, Michael, we could call you up next week. We might even have a chat next week live on Talking Trotters. Let's pencil it in. Next Monday night, I'll talk to Michael before that and we'll sort of work it out. But we'll touch on Sundon and what a super horse he's been. A bit of winter special. Might even, leave it with me. Might even, who knows. Anyway, I'll work it out. I'll work out the finer parts and we will go from there. So thank you very much, Mickey. A bit of excitement for me. And anyone who wants to know a bit more about the Sundon, Michael will be happy to do it live, so anyone wants to fire in some questions at the same time, we'll do it next Monday night. We'll confirm everything and go from there. But thank you to everyone. Talking Trotters brought to you by Harassed Trotters. Continue patronising both these guys and all the other people doing plenty with the Trotters. Unfortunately, I've got this one in the wrong spot. If I back it up to there, I think that's it. And there's the website harassedtrotters.com.au to see everything about Harassed Trotters and what they've got going on. I actually could have turned that off because I've got no one on the phone, but that's fine. Thank you. Look forward to talking to everyone next week, including you, Michael House. And don't forget, On Loose Lines, Wednesday night, much different show. A little bit harder to do. Hot to Trots out of a Sundon mare. There you are. Good luck to you, Barry, if I don't talk to you beforehand, but I think I will be. Good luck to everyone. Sorry, Mark Hughes will be joining me here. I've got to rearrange the studio a bit. Don't know how I'm going to do that. Mark Hughes will be here with me live, and we will be discussing Woodlands Stud, what is in store for the 2023 season, plus many more, much more going forward. So tune in from 6 o'clock through. Won't be as big a show as last week, but don't ever scared to get involved with anything Campbell's Comments does, because that's what we want to do, grow the sport and have a bit of fun at the same time. Thank you, and I will see you next Monday night for Hot to Trot and Wednesday for On Loose Lines. Thank you very much.